So today we're joined by Coach G, a very important person in boxing right now. The person that kind of made me even want to start this channel and even get back into boxing and have a love for it. He was my first like coach 1-to-1 coming back when I was like 18. I was like 18, 19 at the time.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then I had this idea and I brought it to you and I said, what do you reckon? What do you think I should do? And you encouraged me to do it. And I was battling with myself whether I should do it or not. And you would always message me, sending me 3 voice notes, making me feel guilty that I'm not getting around to doing it. But we're here today, and thank you for encouraging me and actually coming on the show and everything. So obviously you've watched a few of the past ones that I've done initially, so you know what the show's about. It's about getting you out there and telling your story, so like the people know who Coach G is.
Yeah. So
let's start from the beginning. Like, where did you grow up? Like, what's your heritage and everything like that?
Okay, my heritage is Antiguan and Jamaican.
Okay.
So my mum's from Antigua, my dad's from Jamaica. We grew up originally, first portion of my life, in Tottenham Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half we moved to Wood Green. So we swapped houses with my grandparents because she had a bigger house. We was in a small 2-bedroom flat. There were 6 of us.
Okay.
So we swapped and I moved to Wood Green. So I grew up in Wood Green and Tottenham. So
North London.
I'm from both sides of the war.
So how did you find growing up in that area, and how would you describe yourself growing up? Like, where did you fit in?
Yeah, it was tough because it's there's a lot of just male testosterone. There's a lot of egos, alpha males. Everyone's hustling and bustling to be the top, and people. There's a lot of poverty around the area, so it was kind of tough. And you find yourself falling into gangs and a bit of crime and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to walk the straight path, but you're being pulled left and to the right. So yeah, it was tough, but I'm here today, so obviously made it through.
So did you find yourself getting in any kind of trouble?
Yeah, I got in a bit of trouble when I was younger. I got in a lot of trouble. When I've been in prison, I've been arrested a number of times, and I managed to pull myself together and get into coaching, and here I am today.
So would you say boxing kind of helped you narrow out, or was it something before that? Because you got into boxing quite later on.
Yes, I got into boxing late, but I would say what boxing did was give me a focus and a purpose. Before I was doing music, so I was a musician. I had a top 10 out there. I had a couple.
Yeah, the top 10.
Yeah, on urban charts.
What was the song called?
That was called Return to Hip Hop. That was with myself, 90p producer Ed Skrein, who's now big Hollywood actor in films, and my boy Ace. So we used to do a lot of music, and we had a lot of success with it. But
I thought he was going to say something else.
We wasn't consistent. So,
okay. Yeah. So what was your rap name back then? Your Coach G now, what was you then?
G-Man.
Okay.
G-Man. Yeah.
Quite, still a bit similar.
Yeah, similar. G-Man.
So would you say your dad influenced you? Because I know he's like heavy into reggae music production and everything.
Yeah, heavily. My dad was a big influence on me with music. When we was growing up, we used to have a big studio in our house, and we had a separate studio down the road in another house, and there used to be a lot of artists coming in and out of our house, like UB40 and your Marleys, and loads of artists just coming out, and you would know them and who they were. So it was fun and excited growing up, and we're in the studio when they're making the track. So I was always around music, and I was always around music celebrities. So naturally that is where I progressed to. And I started doing music when I was young. I was like doing garage and rapping, and then it kind of progressed from there, and I went into doing my own stuff when I got a little bit older.
What was that?
What was the music I went into?
No, you said that you ended up doing your own stuff.
Yes, well, we released the album. It was called The Storm.
Okay.
In Circuit, The Storm. About 10 years ago, we did stuff with Sincere, Rich Ray 2, Mark Henry, Grimy Limey, before he was on One Extra.
So what made you stop? Because it seems like you things were going well. You was linking up with the right people that
Yeah.
are still relevant today. What made you stop doing the music?
Well, what it was is consistency. Anything in life. You know, I was making money at the time, so music wasn't something I needed to do. It's a need and a want situation. And just like in boxing, you know, some people need to do it to better their life, and others want to do it. And because I was kind of okay at the time, I didn't.
It was like the forefront of your mind.
So I did it because it was a family thing. Like all my family's in it. Like my uncles are into music, my dad, cousins, my whole family in Jamaica were a family that is known for music. So I didn't really need to do it. I just kind of did it because it was kind of fun. But the main thing is consistency. It wasn't consistent enough. But we did play a number of shows. We bid on radio and stuff like this. We went around, was getting paid and stuff like this. So yeah.
Well, like I say, you're very consistent these days because if I check your Snapchat, your Instagram, you're in the boxing gym every single day. If you're not at yours, you're at someone else's doing something on the other side of the country. So hats off to you for finding that consistency now.
Well, I'm consistent with it because of the music. Because I knew if I was consistent with the other things in my life, I wouldn't have been in boxing. So I recognise that. You got to recognise your faults and you know, have a conversation with yourself. Say, okay, I could have done that better. So with boxing, I've got a passion for it. I love doing it. So I said, I'm going to be consistent with it and give it my all, even through the ups and the downs.
So from young, was you also interested in boxing then, or was it?
Yes, we used to watch boxing with my dad when I was younger. We used to wake up late at night. We used to watch the Tyson's fights with my dad. Frank Bruno's actually related to my family. He's like a third cousin, and he used to be around our house every so often. He used to come to the family functions. Stuff like that.
What was it like seeing those kind of fights live back then, like seeing Tyson fight? Because you're a different generation to me. What was that like? Was it the same kind of excitement as AJ or?
Well, it's different because you're young.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got the nostalgia, but it is kind of the same. You know, it is kind of the same. You're excited. You're a fan of a fighter. You want to see him win. Tyson's an explosive knockout artist, and obviously you know about that. You hear about that, so you want to see the knockout. It's funny because a lot of his fights, I'd go to the kitchen to get my cornflakes or my Rice Krispies at 4 a.m. and by the time I come back, the fight's over. So it's happened a couple of times.
So, what made you get into boxing eventually later on in life then?
Well, I was always, before I joined the club that got me started, I was boxing before. I was training. I was training with, bloody hell, I forget the guy's name. Give me one moment, I'm sure you can edit it up. One moment, what is his name? Paul, that's it, Paul. So, I used to train with a guy called Paul. Yeah. And he got me into boxing again. I used to go sparring around various clubs. At that time, I was still doing music, so I wasn't really taking it seriously. I was just kind of keeping fit. Then I moved area. I moved out of Wood Green, moved up to Hertfordshire, up to Barnet area, and I live 5 minutes away from Finchley Boxing Club. I was quite big at the time. I was getting out of shape. I was well out of shape actually when I got there. I was smoking a lot of weed, cigarettes. So when I got to Finchley, just got fit and I just got into boxing like that.
So most people doing boxing, they would try and do it to go do the amateurs or white collar at least, or just to keep fit. What made you want to actually become a boxing coach?
Well, I wasn't thinking about becoming a coach. That wasn't in my plans. I was just concentrating on myself, my own self goals, which was getting fit and trying to stop smoking and stuff like that. And I joined Finchley Boxing Club because it was 5 minutes from my house. And I was training a lot. I used to go there with my friend. I used to spar 2-3 times a week, spar the keep fitters, spar the boxers, spar the other boxers in the gym. And the head coach of the gym asked me to become a coach. I actually wanted to fight, but he said, you missed that boat. You've been in the gym long enough, sparring. You've been in the ring. You've done like your first part of your apprenticeship. You know how to handle yourself. I think you'd be a good coach. And I didn't quite believe him at the time. I was like, really? And he said, yeah, I really believe you're going to be a really good coach. And
was that Sean Murphy?
Yeah, that was Sean Murphy. And he said, I'll look after you and like kind of mentor you through the game, and the rest is history. Him being because it was him, and I know what he's done in the sport himself and for others, I said to myself that I'm going to dive in, that I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to go 100%, 110%, and try to make this into a thing, because it was an opportunity that came up. How can I turn down an opportunity like that? So, yeah, exactly. And here I am today.
So, because you're a coach, could you give some, I don't know if the word's advice, but like, could you tell parents about, like, because a lot of parents like might think, oh no, I don't want my child to get into boxing because it's a dangerous sport. You can get brain damage, and they refer to people in the past, like back in the day, that have suffered because of boxing. But boxing's changed, and there's a lot more science behind it, and doctors available. Could you tell the parents that tell the parents that it's not that bad?
Well, boxing is a contact sport, so by definition, you're going to get hit. But it's not the most dangerous sport out there. On a list of most top 10 dangerous sports, I'm not even sure if it's in the top 10. And if it is, it's at the bottom half of the top 10. It's quite...
What's number one, UFC?
I think it's probably something like cycling or...
What? If UFC is
swimming
not at the top, yeah, I don't know what is, because to me, UFC is too dangerous. Because sometimes I watch UFC and I see a guy knock a guy out, he's falling to the ground, and this guy is so mental in his head, whilst he's falling on the ground, he's still trying to kick him and punch out his skull. Yes. I'm thinking, this guy's got demons. Do you know what I mean?
But I think something like American football, which hasn't even come up, but American football is more dangerous. On here, horse riding, scuba diving, running of the bulls, whatever that is. Gymnastics, which my daughter does. And below gymnastics is boxing. And this is just from a quick search. Yeah. So, yeah, boxing is definitely not the most dangerous sport. There's more dangerous sports out there. But the thing is this, to answer your original question, boxing instills discipline and routine. And, you come into a gym, you've got to listen to your coach. You've got to be able to listen to instructions and carry it on. You've got to be able to socialise and get on with the group and the team. So it can help build you into an upstanding member of society. And you don't necessarily have to fight. You can just train to get the discipline that comes with boxing. And in that sense, it helps a lot of kids become better people, because you come into the gym with an ego. I want to fight the best. I want to do this. You think you're the big I am, but then you spar and you train and you realise there's a whole gym full of people that are way better than you. So it quickly humbles you. Yeah. So it humbles you, gives you structure, gives you discipline, gives you guidance, gives you focus, keeps you fit. So there's a lot of benefits from boxing. They should probably bring it back into schools. But you don't have to fight. If it so happens that you're good enough to fight, then you fight. Because less than 1% of boxers make it. You know. My thing as a coach is, obviously we want to train champions and create champions. But my second thing, or the first, whichever one, whichever order I put it in, is I want to improve people's lives, like make people's lives better, make them realise their potential. Like you said, you came with me, you was doing one-to-ones, and we got talking, and you said you wanted to do this, and I motivated you into realising, like, yeah, you can do this. Like, boxing ain't the only thing you can do, You can do, not everybody has to be the top You know, you can be part of the cogs that help gets a person
Yeah, exactly.
to the top. So you doing this is just as important as the boxer, you know. And I coach the boxer. The boxer's the star that gets in the ring, but the boxer can't operate without a coach,
Yeah.
and then he can't get out there to the people without people like yourself, the media. So everyone has a role to play. Do you get what I'm saying? You just got to find your position in life. Not everyone has to be in a star position. Do you get what I'm saying? So,
Makes
yeah.
a lot of sense. So how long was you at Finchley for?
Well, I've just Finchley 6 to 7 years. I think it's 6 years. I thought it was 7. Some people say 6 years, but it was 6 to 7 years I was there. Yeah.
And what made you leave?
Well, we had some disagreements with the committee members. There's a big story to it which I won't go into at the moment, but we just had some disagreements. They felt that I was growing too big for the club, and there was a few other little issues, and we just couldn't iron out the issues, so we had to part ways.
So I see now that you've left Finchley, you've floated around a few gyms.
Yeah.
Where would you say is your home right now?
Well, I say my home is IQ Boxing Club.
Neasden.
IQ Boxing Club right now. In my mind, I plan to open my own gym in the future.
Yeah.
When in the future, I don't know. That may or may not come. And when that does happen, I'd like to take, if I can, the team that I've got with me, which is Xavier and Nick, in my mind, if that happens. Because, you know, everybody's got a dream to do their own thing. You're doing this, you want to be the number one. So I want to try and have my own facility with my own coaches and my own gym. So, yeah, I'm with IQ Neasden at the moment.
And how did you find that transition? And have you noticed that the training in terms of what the fighters get are different in both gyms? Have you noticed anything like that?
Yes, there's definitely a big difference in how the clubs are run. Finchley's very active, and I like that activity at Finchley. I like being very active. I like being out at shows all the time. Neasden is not so like that at the moment because, you know, the coaches, they work themselves. Nick's a head teacher of a school. Zav used to be a head teacher at school. He now does the pros and the amateurs. So the structure's very different. We're not as active, but the difference is that it's a smaller club.
Yeah.
So it's quality over quantity, where Finchley was a massive club, so there's lots of boxers in there. And you didn't really have time to kind of work with a boxer for longer than maybe a 15, 5 minutes, because you've been there.
I've been there.
I said, I'll try to be kind by saying 15 minutes, but you said 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I wouldn't say that's necessarily, that's not a fault of the head coaches. It's more how the committee runs things. But, you know, you can't entirely knock it. You know, they've had lots of successes in doing that system, so it works for them. The new club that I'm at, they have less, so we can focus on the boxers a little bit more, give them more time, more specialised training, and for me personally, that works better. Okay. And it also works for us as well, because as you see, we've had some successes 2019 with the boxers that came with me.
Okay, so like you said, you've moved, but you still had boxers that were loyal to you and moved with you.
Yeah.
And it's clear that, for example, Malik, Shannon and Brandon's like your small little stable of fighters. There might be some more. I might have some out.
Yeah, I've got a few more, yeah.
But did you expect, obviously Malik's gone professional now,
yeah.
Did you expect to have a professional fighter so early on in being a coach?
No, I didn't. And we're still yet to make that debut. Obviously, he was meant to make his debut on the 19th of December. It didn't quite happen. You know, I had to pull him out the night before because, you know, he had an illness which we was trying to manage, but it just didn't make no sense putting him in there.
Yeah.
You know, he was meant to be on the Matchroom card.
Yeah, exactly.
That was through AJ. You know, we had to pull him out, and it wasn't the best because we put in a lot of time training him, working really hard to get to that point to have to put him out. So it was quite tough for myself, and even more tough for him.
Yeah,
but, you know, it was mad. But You know, everything happens for a reason, as they say. So we hope to be on the Matchroom show or a show shortly. You know, we're still in training right now. But did I expect to have a pro fighter so soon? No, hell no. I thought it was maybe going to be 10 years or something like that. I guess energy goes, good energy goes where energy flows, and
Exactly, yeah.
me and Malik, we gelled very well. We get on very well. He's a good student. He's a good human being. He's a nice human being, and he's very low. And I can't really say enough about the kid. When I left Finchley, he was the first one to leave with me. In fact, he walked ahead of me and pulled me. Do you know what I mean? And that's something I'm always going to remember. You know, no matter how things go in boxing or which ways we go, I'm always going to remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Malik's career is gonna go far as well because he puts the time in. He's a good fighter.
Yeah.
Got the right people around him. Nice guy.
Yeah, he's a talent. And it was Gary Foley that said to me, you know, you and Malik could be here in a couple of years. I said, where? He said the O2, because we was watching a Josh fight at the O2, and he says, I reckon you two will be here soon. I said, you think? I said, nah. And then fast forward, you know, he's on the Matchroom show, and he might well be on at O2 at some point, but we'll see.
So you're his coach, and Tunde Ajayi is his manager.
Yes, that's another big person that I've got to shout out. Tunde Ajayi. See, I'm wearing the top System 9. Stamina for sale. top guy. You know, it's a guy that I've been watching for a while. There's coaches that I watch.
Very positive guy.
Yeah, he's a very positive guy. He's, you know, you could call him a mentor. You might as well say he's a mentor. He spends countless hours talking to me about different aspects of the game, things to watch out for, giving me his time and energy, which he doesn't have to do. And I'm a person that's big on time, you know. Time is the most important commodity in the world, you know.
You're very punctual. You was even here before me.
I tried to be, you know, because once you lost your time, you can't regain that.
Exactly, yeah.
That's one thing you cannot regain is time. So he gives me his time, and anybody that gives me their time, I have a lot of love for them. So, yeah, big up Tunde Ajayi, System 9.
So with Tunde, he is Anthony Yard's coach and manager.
And manager, yes.
Did you consider doing that with Malik, or did you think you wanted someone with more experience to manage him? How did that relationship come
with
about?
Tunde?
Yeah.
I seeked it out.
Okay.
I don't play about, bro. I go straight to the source, you know. Anything I want to know or learn, I go straight to the source. Okay, like, you know, I went Domingo's gym or other coaches, Fight Walker, Joby in Wolverhampton. That's another guy I communicate with a lot, highly respect him. A lot of what I do is from him, or partly what I do is from him, how I teach my fighters. The philosophy that I try to employ is from Fight Walker Job. So I just went straight to Tunde and hit him up. Yo, I'm Coach G, you know, I want to learn partly some of what you know, and that's how I'm going to improve as a coach, to watch, take a bit from there, take a bit from there, take a bit from there, and put it into my own personal philosophy.
And that's a good trait to have, because at the end of the day, I'm a bit like that as well. Yeah. Like, if I want something, I'm not scared to go and ask for it, because if you don't ask, you don't get it. You never know what opportunity you could miss out on.
That's right.
At your time at Finchley, you also was able to develop quite a close relationship with AJ.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the whole Ruiz saga that happened?
Which one?
Him, because I remember when the fight was announced to him to fight Miller, and I called you. I don't know if you remember, and we was having a discussion on the phone, and I was saying that, that'll be an easy fight for him, and he was like, and you was giving your opinion and stuff, and then he pulled out of the fight, and then now he fought Ruiz the first time and he lost.
Yeah.
And then the rematch, he obviously, thankfully, won back his belts.
Yeah.
Do you believe the rumours about Ruiz slacking off in training, or do you think AJ was just simply the better man of the day?
Well, one, he was clearly the better man of the day, because the better man normally wins, unless there's some bullshit going on. Do you know what I mean? Did Reece slack off in training? Hell yeah, he did. You could see that. He put an extra weight. Now, did he slack off in training because he was just enjoying the fruits of his labour?
Yeah.
Or did he slack off because he thought he beat AJ handedly the first time, and he thought he was surprised how quickly he done it, and he thought, wow, I'm going to be able to do this again. It was an underestimation, and we all do that. We all underestimate certain things in life or people. In Ruiz's case, he underestimated AJ, and AJ may have done the same with him in the first fight. You know, it's happened throughout history a number of times with, you know, Lennox Lewis has done it before, and a number of other fighters have done it before. It happens.
As someone close to AJ, how would you describe him? Because personally,
well, no, I wouldn't say we're close, but we're
closer than the public.
We're closer than the public. Yeah, let's say we're friends. Yeah, we're good friends. I have a respect for him because of what he's done for me personally and what he's done for some fighters and the character that he is that I've seen. So I have a lot of respect for him. So,
He's definitely a good character, because I've said this story a couple of times. If you know me, you probably heard this story. But it's the champ at the end of the day. This is my claim to fame.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I remember me and you was doing a 1-to-1. I don't know if you remember. We was in the small ring at Finchley.
You said the thing about Tyson.
Yeah.
I remember that.
He came up to the ring, stood there for a good 5 minutes before he started his session watching me. And then he was giving me tips saying that I should envision Tyson, how he would do it and all that. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, mate, I'm trying to do it like you did. Do you know what I mean? But like, he's so humble in thinking that he hasn't even made it yet. And these times he's the world champion.
Yeah, that is literally how he is. People, you know, we got, come on, like, we're from, you know, he's from the roads.
Yeah.
You know, I'm from the roads, you know, and it's always going to be in us. So we can... You know, we can switch that on at any point, but we're trying to be better human beings in life. So, you know, he always give out good advice, and he'll talk humbly. Like, he'll ask me, you know, what do you think about this? Or I'm trying to do this, or I'm trying to improve on this. And, you know, you think you're the champ, you should know, but what it is he's a human being just like anybody else. I'm a human being, he's a human being, we're all humans. And at the end of the day, we're all going to get buried in the same dirt. No matter who you think you are, your status, or how much money you got, we all end up in the ground. Do you get what I'm saying? In the same dirt as everybody else. So, I guess, like you said, he's a humble individual, and he recognises that, and I recognise that as well. That I don't hold nobody above anybody else.
Well, I'm glad he's got his belts back, and
of course,
he's the champ again. But my
yeah.
question to you is, who would you want to see him unify the belts with? Because obviously, Wilder's fighting Fury again.
Again, yeah.
And
then he was going to fight him again after that.
Is it?
Yeah. It's going to be a rematch after that, I think.
If that's right, so cool. So if Tyson Fury's fighting Wilder, then whoever wins or loses that fight would have to fight Dylan?
Yeah.
So, who would you want to see AJ fight?
I want to see him fight Wilder and pick up that last belt. That's really it.
So you don't want to see Fury win?
Well, that's okay. I say this: the belts essentially should be irrelevant.
Okay.
They should be irrelevant. The only way they can be irrelevant if the boxers agree to say fuck their belts. Like, let's just fight each other, because the belts are just trinkets. You know, who would I want to see him fight? I want to see him fight Wilder, because I believe he can beat Wilder. Although it won't be easy. You know, Wilder is a catastrophic banger. He's got a solid right hand, but in my personal opinion, I don't think the game. I think the game plan to beat Wilder is very simple. It's quite easy. I think that to implement the game plan is the difficult part.
So yeah, I just looking at you, I just got a little bone to pick with you, because I remember the last time we had a session, you put me in the ring with this 6'5" guy that wanted to dedicate his life to boxing.
Boy, you know, you're at Finchley, baby. That's the Finchley doghouse at the time.
I didn't really appreciate that, to be fair. But I think I held my own.
Well, I only put you in there because I know of your capabilities working with you at the time. And I know of that guy's capabilities. So I knew you would do good. But the thing is, if you believe in yourself a little bit more, you do even better.
Yeah, exactly,
You know?
yeah.
So, yeah, you did well. And you're not bad, because me and you have sparred.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking when we sparred, fucking hell, this might have been a bad idea. But I didn't show it, because when you hit me with a punch, I thought, right. He can bang, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, Malik's your fighter. When's his next fight coming up?
Well, we're waiting now, because he had an injury. He was, I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but so we're waiting for that to kind of clear up. But we're just waiting to hear from the grapevine what direction we're going to be going. But I hope to have him out I want him out by March latest.
Okay.
Late February, March, I want him out to get his first bout out. And maybe get another one out. Then you got Ramadan coming up, April, May. Then he's at uni. I think he finishes his uni in June. So then after June, it will be full steam ahead. But I'd like him to get one out in March, if possible. February, March, late February, March. And then do the Ramadan uni and then get one out in after June. Or maybe in between. We'll have to see. But I want him to be out first quarter.
Okay, cool. Is there anything else you would want to shout out or anything like that? Your socials?
Yeah, Coach_G boxing on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Damien.dark on the Snapchat. You can find my Snapchat Addy on my Instagram highlights. And yeah, Tunde Ajayi.
Box Raw.
258. Box Raw. AJ for what he's done for us up until this point. You know, the whole Matchroom show and all that wouldn't have been possible without him. You know, it's a shame we couldn't have got the fight out. It was a little bit of a letdown for everyone, but more so myself because I'm the one putting in the work with Malik. So yeah, but just Firewalker Joby. So I would like to big up Firewalker Job. He's, like I said, he's a guy that's influenced me quite a lot.
Neasden IQ.
Yeah, Neasden, Xavier. I'll never forget what he said to me when I first came to the gym. I come into his gym and I said, can I do this and that? And he said, brother, you're home now. You're home now. Do what you want. And that was very deep for me because I went to IQ a year in advance before I left Finchley. I went to IQ the year before in preparation of potentially leaving Finchley. And that's a story for another day. But that's a story for another day. But so of course I got to big up Nick. Me and Nick gel very well. We got similar,
very nice guy.
Similar philosophies me and Nick have got. And Xavier, he's alright. He just keeps calling out coaches.
Yeah, have you guys had your spar yet? Or
what happens in sparring stays in sparring.
So you lost, basically.
But Xavier knows what happened in the 36 chambers. Let's just say he's retired.
Okay, say no more. So you also have your stable of boxers. You got Shannon and Brandon. Who else do you have in your stables?
Okay, yeah. So when I left Finchley, a number of boxers left with me, which again touched me because I didn't expect that to happen. In fact, there was one or two expected to come with me when I left that didn't. So that's what surprised me more. So yeah, Malik left with me. Shannon, who I've been working with for a year. Oscar, he left with me. I used to train him down Finchley alongside Gary. I got Amir, another young kid that hasn't had any bouts yet, that left with me. Natty, another good boxer.
Quite a funny guy.
Yeah, funny guy. Got a big heart though, lot of skills. He left with me. and there's one or two others that are just coming through that left for me as well. There's Prince, he came along, and there's Amit, one young Turkish fella who came with me as well. He's okay. So yeah, I had quite a few, and there was a few more as well. But Jack Walsh, top kid, Jack Walsh, big up Jack Walsh. He left for me, but he couldn't come to IQ. It was the distance.
Yeah.
So he went to Hodgeston Boxing Club, and he's doing very well out there.
Well, if he's prepared to just leave the club, and even just because you left, that's a testament to you as a character as well.
Yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So they left with me. I've had successes with Shannon this year. She won the female box cup. So that was our first competition we'd been in on the England side, because obviously Finchley was with the Alliance. And we went over to IQ, which is England. Shannon got elevated to elite boxer because she came from Waco semi-contact boxing or semi-contact kickboxing type thing. So her record got elevated. So it was her first competition as an elite. And we were all kind of nervous. We wasn't sure how she was going to do, even though I know her ability. And she absolutely smashed it. She smashed it. Oscar, he got put into the England Developments competition.
Okay.
He won the Londons and then got to the national finals, beating a lot of people along the way that people didn't expect him to beat. So he done well. We got Brandon that got into the London finals. Arguably, he won it. A lot of people said he won it. I thought it was a good decision. Won't complain about the decision, but it was a good scrap. He put a good account of himself forward, and I was very proud of how he performed. I didn't even care that he lost it. He performed brilliantly. Natty again, I think he got to the semi-finals, and he put on a magnificent performance as well. I personally thought he won that, but it didn't matter again because they both put in a good performance, his opponent and him. So everybody's been doing great so far. You know, Natty in the semis, Shannon winning the Box Cup. She beat a girl from Italy in London versus Italy. She done very well in that. You got, Malik's training hard. Oscar's doing his things, and the others they're coming through. So it's been a good start to the season, and the season started in September, and we're in January, and we've had those successes so far. So who knows what the rest of the year is going to bring? Shannon's got the intermediates coming up at the end of January. Brandon's in that as well. Then we'll put her in the elites in March. So it's going to be an interesting year.
You're working with a lot of good fighters.
Yeah. I've been blessed to have a good stable of fighters that are easy to teach, and they're willing to learn, and they're coachable. So I can get the best out of them. So and we gel. It's I'm more than just a coach. I'm a friend, an uncle, a brother. We sit down, we talk about problems in their life, and I'll tell them about problems I'm having as well, because there's no hierarchies in this thing necessarily, except for when we step in that ring. I'm your coach and we get to work. So
sounds good, man. Keep up the good work. If anyone wants one-to-ones, they know the man to go to.
That's right. You want one-to-ones, you want to get fit, you want to train like a champion, you want to get into the sport, come and see me, Coach G Boxing, Instagram, like I said, and I'll get you into the sport and get you up to speed.
Exactly. That little plug owes me a little discount. Do you know what I mean? The price is a bit high. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, man.
No problem, bro, man. No problem.